Hello, hello, and welcome to Minotaur Hotel. We're still exploring the underground. It's neat. I do like this background, actually. It's nice. To a floor like something, to a floor like something out of a documentary on Edwardian decadence, yes. Oh, excuse me. Look, I'm having some troubles. It's fine. It's fine. The marble floors are covered in luxur, like the rugs, and the tall square columns support a. This today's gonna be great, guys. Today's good recording. We've started off strong. Support of molded and bronze-plated ceilings. The entire space is lit by chandeliers dripped with crystal pendants, medallions, and adornments. They refracted the light into shimmering shards which dance across the stark white walls and heavy damask curtains. To a floor that looks like every fantasy writer's idea of a medieval tavern, large oaken casks sit behind the long counter, and a massive fireplace lights the stone brick and wood interior with flickering firelights. Off to the side, a narrow staircase leads up to a shadowy gallery, which overlooks the squat table and simple hand-carven chairs below. The deeper you go, the older the architecture becomes. Then Asterion stops. He looks around, checking each wall and hallway. It looks almost as if we're traveling back in time.
That is one way to put it. I have been running the hotel for many centuries. Every once in a while, I've had no choice but to renovate it from the ground up. But instead of bringing it all down, I chose instead to push the older version lower, stacking them on top of each other. So in a sense, we are traveling back in time.
The way you say all of that as if it was a little magic trick you pulled by snapping your fingers. But the Minotaur doesn't hear what you say. He notices a notch on the wall's corner.
We aren't even halfway through. Let's take a shortcut.
He leads you down a short hallway to a claustrophobic staircase. You follow him one floor down, 2, 3, and then through an archway into the far ancient past. Halfway between a temple and a home, but a purebred labyrinth regardless, carved out of the rock itself. The hallways branch off at odd angles, with doorways, staircases, and steps strewn to the left and right. The space makes no sense. The two doorways, a foot apart, will lead to different bedrooms, which seem to exist in the same space. The same room will be different depending on which door you enter it from, and when you turn around, the path from whence you come may look nothing like it used to. You hear yours and Asterion's footsteps, but they often come from distant hallways. This is pure chaos. And yet Asterion giggles and flicks his ears when he catches the puzzlement on your face. He stops once more to situate himself. While you wait, you take in your surroundings. This whole place is cramped, yes, but its closeness is like a private bedroom, bathed in candlelight. Quiet indeed, like winter's first snowy night, when all sound is muffled and made smoother than cream. The air, this floor is ancient, but there is no dust or mold. Instead, it all smells like a bookstore, as if the place was made out of aged paper. And Asterion's hooves do sound better. Do they sound louder here? Or is it that, back on the surface, he always walked with softer steps? Where his back is wider, his gait is fearless as a king's. His eyes read the space as if each and every centimeter was inscribed in his memory. Plenty of room to hide in, a clue cloves and crevices where none can see you unless they are a foot away, and unending hallways to confuse anyone with ill intent. The hotel shudders, and never did its groan come so loud and grave before. When you look around, you find all of the entrances to the room blocked off by rocks.
What do you think, my lord?
He calls you lord, but it's his voice that comes out with a confidence of royalty. I don't know if this place is impressive, eerie, or soothing. Perhaps all of them at the same time.
It was my first attempt at architecture. Back then, my only reference was labyrinths to themselves. Alas, some places I find quite cozy, many others feel are anxiety-inducing and entrapping.
This place is unorthodox, at least compared to other hotels I've been to, but it does have a cozy feel to it. And the whole what is this? What is this fucking word? We haven't done this in a while, have we? I've been trying to do it far less, you know. I find that this feels a little embarrassing to do. What is this word?
Euclidean.
Euclidean?
Euclidean.
Neat. Relating to or denoting the system of geometry based on the work of
Euclidean.
Euclid? Okay. And corresponding to the geometry of ordinary experiences. Of such a nature that the postulates of Euclidean geometry are valid. What the fuck? Okay. Okay. It's fine. I'm just gonna have to deal with that. Euclidean space thing. Can't say I can wrap my head around it, but it is impressive.
Oh, that! I had a reason for it. Joseph the Merciful. He may have spared me from the valley, but he did not quite enjoy dealing with me. This way, he didn't have to stumble upon me often. And that's in the past, much like this whole place. We are in one of the oldest layers of the hotel, after all. It's been centuries since I last visited. I am sorry if this alienates you somewhat, but I feel nostalgic. It feels nostalgic to me.
Nostalgic? Were things good back then?
No, not nearly as good as they are with you. Still, some memories I do cherish. Hearing the hymns from Joseph's church, though I still was not allowed in it. Well, while making bread in that hall down there. There was the 2,000 years ago. Most of our guests were early Christians. They often asked me if I was an agent of Moloch. I knew not what Moloch even was until they told me. It was almost amusing and to be thought of fearsome, but more so, I was proud that even they eventually saw something to fear that I could find rest in the halls I tended. But make no mistake, as much as I may hold these memories dear, I much prefer being with you.
Oh, are you implying I'm the best master yet?
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't recall saying that. You have quite the competition. Have I ever told you about? Let's see.
Yes.
He used the hotel's power to stop a crusade, and then taught a whole kingdom how to read. Or how about Charles of India?
I hope I said that right.
Did I mention him? He single-handedly kept the conflict of Hyderabad from escalating into an all-out war between the French and British. And how could I forget Intellectum, the wise, who preserved 108 displaced peoples until they could return to their ancestral homelands.
Now you're just making things up. There's no way you had someone called Intellectium the Wise.
How dare you question the legacy of Electium, the Marvelous? At this rate, you won't stand up to Plato, and Carl.
You aren't even saying the same names anymore. This is all made up.
My king and lord, you wound me with such words. I would never lie to you, not in 100 years. But if you doubt me, so, I suppose I have no choice. Hereby I, Asterion, do solemnly swear to tell Master Mr. Josh, the full truth of this matter. Under one condition.
What is it? The doors are open again.
Catch me.
He bolts. The last thing you see of him is his tail whipping about. Get your bearings and give chase, good master. You look down the hallway and see Asterion slowing down to make a sharp turn to the left, and he catches you with a sideways glance. He picks up the pace and disappears. When you turn the corner yourself, he's nowhere to be seen, but there's only one path forward. You don't need a string to track him. The echoing clops of his hooves is enough. Despite his weight, they sound most delicate next to your stomping after him. You may get a little lost, but these old passages of his are growing familiar, and at times Asterion seems to slow to an echoing trot. You follow his song-like steps. The thrill of the hunt, heart pounding in your chest as legs and arms work and pump, pushing you closer and closer to grasping him. After half a dozen turns of twists, you've returned to the starting point, and you notice that Asterion's repeating the same tracks. Your next turns are fast enough that you catch up to Asterion midway through the next circuit. He hears your footsteps, looks behind, you lock eyes, glance stolen, and his trot becomes a leisurely gallop. He goads you, good master. Show now your power and might, and may your winged feet carry you to conquest. The Minotaur is only a half dozen steps ahead. You reach out with your hands, anticipating his thinly furred and firmly muscled sides, but he speeds up again. Faster you go, then he returns to a trot after a sharp turn, and now he's only 10 steps ahead. Your hands take on a life of their own, and so does the back of the Minotaur's neck, his fur standing on end. His whole back heats up with anticipation of your touch. The warmth of your hands on your spine, sides, face, back of head, cupping his ears, going down his neck, grasping his shoulders to press his chest against yours. A gentle touch, warm digits brushing through his fur, eyes closing in sync, his skin against skin, radiating a satisfaction that takes root in one's bones. All these ghostly sensations and more rack his body. But as for words, his mind is poor. He thinks only that he has to gallop, must win, should loudly trot, might look behind, should slow down, must come together with you, has to. What was the goal of this exercise all along? Asterion becomes aware of his own absent-mindedness and laughs along with you. Words return to him in a flash. He's proud of himself for being worthy of such a pursuit, of being esteemed, wanted, desired. You settle into the rhythm. The gap is closing now, just 6 steps behind him. You reach out. His trotting winds down. Your steps match. His tail thrashes with every step, whipping against the wall and even bumping against you. You lay one hand on his left side, the other cups his tail and envelops in a loose grip, so that you are not quite tugging. Asterion digs his hooves into the ground as soon as he feels it. As he winds down, your legs sink with his, and when you stop, your hips come together. His laughing has ceased, but his ears flick about like a hummingbird's wings. You pat the side of his leg and let your hand run down the length of his tail, not quite letting go. There's a shift. Perhaps without noticing, he leans back so that you support some of his weight as he enjoys your breath on the center of his back. There. Was that enough exercise? He turns and envelops you in an embrace. His snout nuzzles your shoulder, and your face is pushed into the crook of his neck. How well it all fits. Your hands on his side and tracing his back while his arms squeeze you closer, as if two could become one. His hooves, legs, and tail, for centuries untamed, I know the word, I just can't pronounce it. It's fun. Creatures melt into graceful things as his wet snout snuffles into your shirt. The Minotaur lets out a grunt, liberating, redeeming, as though a lock had come undone in his throat.
You are the best, the greatest master, and that is the truth.
In the cramped hallway, his scent becomes clear and almost overpowering. He smells like the sea late in the afternoon, when the wave crashes on the rocks and blow droplets of sea salt. You breathe in deeper, and another layer makes itself apparent, the scent of fur and fabric warmed by sunlight. But strongest of all is the distinct smell of fresh sweat. As shameless like men at work building a home by the sea as the sun pelts their backs. This is Asterion's scent. Salt, sunlight, hard work. But a hug cannot last forever. The both of you unclasp bit by bit, muscle by muscle, as if each movement had a perfect order. And all this time his eyes have been closed, but now he opens their grace for you. He looks up to the corridor behind you.
We are almost there. If memory serves, we in truth passed our destination on the last corridor. Shall we?
Sure. Side by side, arms touching, you walk. But what about the other masters? These do they really exist?
No, I made them up.
Even Intellectium?
Especially him.
Impossible. You are meant to be a well-behaved hotel co-owner. You never lie to your equal partner.
Oh, my king, my emperor of mine. I keep secrets. I play tricks. Could you ever forgive me for this?
I might have it in my heart to forgive you. Yes, on one condition.
Yes, sire. I shall stop calling you my lord. Immediately. A monarch of mine.
Oh, you wound me every time you break your promise. I'll perish, die, cease to be if you continue it.
Sadly, the Minotaur is a trickster. You should know by now I am not without my secrets.
Is it because of the contracts?
Yes, and more. Your arm, for instance. Remember that night when you and I went stargazing with Kota and Luke? I wasn't expecting you to be able to to accept my proposal about the armband. I couldn't imagine a master doing so. The idea was preposterous. It must sound silly, but I was expecting you to reject it, and... well, never mind. That's what I meant when I said I play tricks, and I apologize for that. But there, But before you say anything, I didn't bring you down here to make you feel sorry for me.
Asterion stops halfway down the corridor. You can't see anything out of the ordinary until you look closer at the wall and notice its texture is ever so slightly different. There was something written upon it. By the Keeper's will, may this wall stand forevermore, impenetrable, protecting what lies beyond. This contract can only be revoked temporarily, if and only for as long as the Master or the Keeper touch it.
Another secret for you. Contracts are physically indestructible, unless revoked, which makes them fine material for building.
Asterion touches the wall. It shudders and becomes as flexible as a curtain.
For over 1,000 years, I have never brought a master here, or anyone else for that matter. This place, this floor, and all its secrets, it's my special place, but what lies beyond is more so. What I want to share it, and I want to share it with you.
Okay. I think I'll end the part here, so I will see you around, everyone.